Linklabs is a manufacturer of a full line of LoRa-based products, from end modules that would go in all kinds of devices up through base stations, like a single channel base station like this, which would be for use in home and small office environments, up to large platforms, base stations like this, which are things that an operator would deploy as they build out networks around the world. So we make the full line from the end modules up through to the base stations that the operators would deploy. We've been a supporter of the LoRa Alliance since the beginning. Our feeling was that if we were going to be successful in not only developing but selling the products that we have, we had to work with an ecosystem of other application developers, operators, etc., who would help us and help really all of the Alliance members by providing insight into what the market needs were, what the applications were that people wanted to develop, the price points that they needed to see in these products. And really that's the Alliance's function, not only to educate the rest of the world about the technology, but it's also to help inform the members about what's really required to be successful in deploying this technology. I've been in this business, in the wireless industry, since the 80s, and I've seen a lot of different technologies come and go. What's exciting about this is that we now finally have a modulation scheme and a series of technologies that kind of came together at the same time to be able to produce something right at the point that people were really looking for it. Because as we started to get a lot of interest in monitoring remote devices, what was needed is a very inexpensive way of being able to do that. And what LoRaWAN and the whole LoRa modulation scheme does is allow for very inexpensive battery-operated devices that can be deployed everywhere. And so that you don't see that with some of the other standards that are out there. Certainly, you know, what's happened with operators who are developing or deploying cellular networks is that, you know, they've gone from a very basic technology in the early 90s up to a very evolved technology now, which is really geared towards large amounts of data. So everybody has their cell phone today and they're using it for video, and so, you know, what the operators, the cellular operators, have built is an 8-lane superhighway filled with twin tandem dump trucks of data. And there's a real need for a bike lane and for people who want to move little bits of data. You know, if you want to monitor a smoke detector or an alarm panel or a moisture probe in a cornfield, what you're looking for is very little bits of data that you can inexpensively monitor. And you can't do that with the cellular systems because they're not geared for that. They're not geared for battery efficiency, and they're not geared for moving little bits of data. And that's what the LoRa standard is all about. So we're not developing any applications ourselves, but what's interesting is we already have 75 different customers that we're working with right now that have applications that range all over the map. And that's, I think, been one of the really interesting things about this is the diversity of applications. So in that group of people, we have, if you sort of broke it into categories, it would be building monitoring applications, environmental sensors in buildings, smoke detectors, alarm panels, access control. So we have the smart building stuff. Smart cities applications. These are really water meters, sub-metering of certain businesses. as well as a lot of infrastructure monitoring. So storm drains, trash cans. So we see a lot of very strange and unique applications depending upon the city and what their real sort of touch points are there. And then smart ag. And really smart ag is really driven around, for us, most of these applications are really driven around monitoring water use. And I think this is probably one of the best applications for changing the world. In the United States, 70% of the fresh water that we consume is used by agriculture. And today, when they water a field, they just water the field. They don't water where it needs water. They water it everything evenly. So if you can only water where it needs watering, you can save up to 15% of the water consumption. So we have several clients who are deploying technologies with very inexpensive moisture probes tying back to irrigation systems that could save up to 15% of the water used. That 15% of the 75% is more water than humans consume in the United States. So, which is a great thing, obviously, for this planet. So the LoRa technologies really are doing things that I think can help change the world.